one of the interesting things, you have been mentioning that as an artist, one of the things that has allowed you to move on is keeping it real, letting people know what the reality is. Mm-hmm. And I think it's evident even through the titles of your albums, but more so, to quote you, you said, "Too much in the world is happening to stay quiet. This is beyond politics. It's about spirit and dignity." Mm-hmm. And you know, when I read the reviews on certain fans, it goes beyond just being an activist and culture. It's the spirituality, the emotion, the feeling, everything behind your music. You know what I mean? Like, and even just the intensity. I mean, you have Semillas Rebeldes.
Yeah.
You know, La Contracultura. And one of the things that separated from the rest of them, correct me if I'm wrong, was Pieces of Me. Mm-hmm. As far as title, it just seemed like it went a little more personal.
Yeah.
Instead of, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
What put that together? What was the inspiration behind that?
It's a trip, man, because like that, you know, when you look at the albums, like Semillas Rebeldes, that was in 2006. And at the time I was in Chiapas. I was in Zapatista territory writing some of the lyrics, you feel me? And so all of that inspires you, you know, like, so what you want to do is you want to talk about those things, you know, like, you hear stories from them, you're like, oh shit, you know, can I put that on paper, blah, blah, blah. And then when I came back to LA, it took me about 2 years to come out with Counterculture after that, so it's about 2008, 2009, I started writing it. And then you look at what's around you too, you know what I'm saying, like that's why it's called Counterculture, you know, that's why there's songs that talk about Obama, the Obama administration, but then there's also songs like No Amanecer, you know, like that are more introspective. And then there's Pieces, you know, and Pieces of Me is like, to me that was kind of like the marker of like changing my consciousness from like just stating facts. Stating facts is kind of like external to you, you know, like 98% of the population, you know, whatever, like it's just, all you're doing is like stating facts. But Pieces of Me is like, this is the reason why I'm stating those facts. This is the reason why I talk about the things that I do, you know, so that you know that this shit is personal, you know what I mean? Like the politics, the culture that you hear, all that stuff you might have heard on Semillas, it's coming from a personal perspective. It's not like I learned it in books, but it's an experience, you know what I mean? So Pieces of Me, to me, represented that. And also, like, not everybody wants to hear, like, just facts, you know? It doesn't have a lot of soul, it doesn't have a lot of spirit, you know? But when you make yourself vulnerable, that's when, like, people are able to, like, real people are able to connect with you, you know? Like, the everyday folks, you know, that struggle on the daily, that's when they're like, oh, yeah, I've been through that, too. Da-da-da-da-da. And that's exactly what happened with Pieces of Me. It got to the point where that song was being used in high schools and colleges, like, in their syllabus and curriculums. So I was like, all right, dope, you know, that's where things need to be, you know.
That's funny, you just took the next question out of me.
Oh, yeah.
That it was being used in the classrooms to kind of teach kids, you know, and go a little further as far as spirituality, like you said, and personality. And it is because of that song that I came across something that seemed real interesting to me is you've been compared to, in my opinion, one of the greatest. Charlie Pali, activist dude, real poetic, spiritual. Like, how does it make you feel to get that comparison?
So when I first saw that quote, I don't know, I felt like a little bit like, dang, you know what I'm saying? Like, you kind of go back to like, just getting like, I got little, you know what I'm saying? I was like, oh, dude, that's too much pressure kind of thing, you know? But after a while then too, you gotta own it, you know what I'm saying? Like, look, dude, there's not a lot of fucking raza or Mexicans or Chicanos, whatever you want to call us. There's not a lot of us doing hip-hop on a national level that's being respected as a hip-hop art form. You know, for a lot of years, like, if you're a Mexican, it's like, oh, you're a Chicano rapper, or you're a Latin rapper. It's not hip-hop. You know, it's cool what y'all are doing, but it's now part of this bigger culture called hip-hop. You know? Big Pun, Fat Joe, folks that are from New York, they're being placed in the hip hop, you know what I'm saying, like umbrella. But like, look at people like Sakura, like Sick Jackin, one of the sickest MCs of all time. He's not being placed among some of the greatest. He's being placed as a Chicano rapper or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's very few of us that kind of did that transition. Like, okay, we're being looked at as hip hop artists, not Chicano rappers. You know. So because of that, when I saw that quote, I was like, okay, dope. That's like, I gotta own it then. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm being compared to another hip hop artist, not like a Latino rapper or something like that. You know, or Tigre del Norte or something like that. You know. So it's, again, dude, it's like humbling, but it's also like you gotta come with it. You know, next time around, you gotta make sure your shit's on point. And that's what I've been trying to do anyway. You know?